Hello everyone. Let's start with the next task number 47. In this task, we are going to start with the chapter of strings. The first program that we're going to do is to find the length of the entered string without the use of library function. Okay, so we when we start learning the strings chapter, so most many of the functions that we do with strings, like copying a string or reversing a string or finding the length of the string, all these functions can be done easily with the help of library functions string.h. Okay, but these functions can also be performed manually with the help of a code. Okay, so that is what we are going to do over here, that is to find the length of the string without the help of the library function. Okay, now the very important hint over here is every string always ends with a null character. Okay, so basically if you want to find out whether a string is reached its end character or not, then you just have to check whether the end character is \0. \0 is nothing but the null character. Okay, so one thing always to remember is every string ends with a null character. Okay, so once we have this knowledge, now we are ready to write the program, right? So let's begin. Okay, so I will just start with the template. Here I want to take the input from the user for the string, right? So we don't have any data type called string, but we can declare string is nothing but an array of characters, right? So we can simply define an array, character array. Okay, let's call it message. Okay, let's call the variable message, and to make this variable an array, you just have to put square brackets, and inside that square brackets you just have to specify the size. Okay, so this size is nothing but the maximum size it can handle. Okay, so I've taken a size of 100. That means this program will work up till 100 characters. Okay, so once that is done, now let's give the hint to the user, string length finder. Okay, once that is done, let's take the input from the user to get the value of string. Okay, so enter a string. Okay, so I'm just telling the user to enter a string, right? And here down below we can take the input from the user. Right now, if it was a character, a single character, then I could have used %c and then the name of the variable, right? But here it's a array. Okay, so for that what you have to do is you have to use this %s, s for string, right? And you just have to give the name of the variable directly. Okay, and very important thing to note is you don't put the ampersand sign over here. Okay, because it's an array. Since it's an array, we are directly giving the array to the scanf function, because array itself is storing the address, so we need not give the uh, uh, location at which it has to be stored, because message itself stores the address of the array. Okay, so once that is done, we can get the string. But the problem with %s is it can read only words, it cannot read sentences, right? So that's why this %s will not serve the purpose, right? So because in our particular program we have to accept a sentence, right? So what you're going to do is, instead of %s, we are going to use a different format specifier. It is this square brackets format specifier. Okay, so what this square brackets does is it will keep on reading the data. Okay, so it will not stop at all, right? So if I just show you what happens if I just run it now, okay, and if I just enter something space and I keep on entering, and if I try to press enter, I can still keep on entering, right? So that is the problem with this, that if you use only square brackets, then that will be a big problem because it will never stop accepting the input, right? So here inside the square brackets you have to give a stop condition. Okay, so now here the stop condition can be anything, right? So here I want to stop when the user presses the enter key. Enter key is nothing but new line. Okay, so basically I have to tell the user to quit. Okay, so basically I have to stop when I reach \n. Okay, so basically this is just telling to accept everything, this except \n. Okay, so what is this particular symbol says is to accept everything except \n. Okay, so now if you run it again, you will see the difference. So if I do enter any statement, and if I press enter, the program stops. Okay, so that is what we need, right? So once that is out of the way, we can we have understood this is how we have to take the input. Okay, so this is one way of taking the input of a string. The second way is using another function called get string. Okay, so here you can directly give the variable inside, right, and it will do the same thing as this particular line is doing. Okay, so you have both these methods. I usually like to use the second one, right, because it is much more cleaner, right? So once that is done, we have taken the input. Now our job is to find the length of the string. Okay, now to find the length of the string, we know what is the last character, right? The last character of the string is going to be a null character, right? So we are going to run a for loop or a while loop, right, and we are going to count the number of characters till it reaches the null character, right? So let us begin with that. Okay, so let's write a while loop or a for loop, any loop will do, right? And here the stop condition should be whenever the message of I. Okay, so this I we have to declare, right? So let's declare I, and let's start I from sorry, that I has to be an integer, right? So let's take an integer I and start it at the index 0, because every array starts with index 0, right? So I'm going to start my I. Now I'm going to check what is the value at I equal to at each and every I, right? So at the initial stage I will be 0, right? So at the first point, first location, I will check what is the value. If it is not equal to null, then I will check the next character, right? That means to check the next character I have to do I plus plus, right? So as soon as I do I plus plus, this will become 1. Okay, because I was initially 0, so now it will become 1. So it will again check message, right? But I have to check not equal to null is \0. Okay, so whenever it is not equal to null character, I will be incremented. Okay, so it will be continuously incremented till it reaches null value. Okay, so as soon as it reaches null, it will stop, this loop will stop, and whatever is the value of I at that time, that will be the length of your string. Okay, so I will just write now printf length of string is equal to %d, and I will just do I. Okay, so now if I run this, let me enter hello. So you know the string size is 5, so it should give me length of string as 5. Perfect. Okay, so let me run one more time. This time let me put a sentence, right? Hello world, and you can see there are 5 characters here. This is the 6th character, then again 5 characters, right? So total it should be 11 characters, right? So let's try. So it says string length is 11. Perfect. Okay, so I hope you have understood how we have calculated the length of the string without the help of any library function. Okay, the most important step here was whenever you deal with characters or strings, you have to understand that the last character should always be a null character. Okay, so that is the logic that we have used to find out the length of the string. Okay, so see you in the next task.